after we moved away from Linda Mwananchi conversations, my brother Adrian picked up his former self and has become very objective. And I think that is very good. Because he rightfully points out in this matter of odious debt. Remember, Jagero, anyone who prescribes to you a solution that looks very simple to both you as the person listening and them, then you must be able to have a lot of doubt. Because if it was simple, anyone would have done it. If it was just as simple as to remedy the issues of this country, you just stop paying debt, Jagero, anyone would have done that. All African governments would have done that. So the fact that no one has done it should be able to show you that there must be more that meets the eye. It can't be that there is wisdom in it, because it's quite a simplistic solution. When you look at this issue of odious debt, Jagero, first of all, it has an origin way back, I think in the late 1800s, when there was the Cuba-American War. And Cuba was a colony of Spain. And at the independence of Cuba, and America really helped Cuba in fighting this war, there was a negotiation to say, you know what, the debt that Spain had taken on behalf of Cuba when Cuba was a colony should not be incurred by Cuba. It should go back to Spain, who were the colonizers. And that was, I think, the first successful prescription of this issue of odious debt. But who was the negotiator? The negotiator was a big boy. It was the Americans. We again come and find more or less the same situation within the Iraq after the fall of Saddam Hussein. And after the fall of Saddam Hussein, the debt that he had incurred, there is international consensus that, you know what, let not all this debt be lumped on Iraq. Because remember, at that time, Saddam had been put out more or less as a terrorist that everyone should be fighting against. And so there was an element of that. But then you look at those two examples and you look who won the negotiators. It was essentially the bigger boys that were making these decisions. Essentially, the people that Adrian was talking about, the IMFs and whatever. So their bosses were the ones actually leading this kind of conversations. So it is, first of all, not an easy place to be. When Safina argues it, it makes it look very simple. They even tell you, but who gave the money? We will simply tell them to go after the one they gave the money. It looks very Shylockish. But when you look at it deeply, first of all, even this odious debt itself, Jagero, is not even recognized per se under the international law framework. Because the international law framework argues that, first of all, when a state has taken or borrowed some money from wherever, the next government that takes up must inherit all that debt. And that is the caveat that really protects the lenders and these institutions. So the international law, first of all, is not on the side of these people. And it's true that when you now come into the issue of the implementation of these, it will put Kenya at a very, very critical, complicated situation. Because the truth is that this debt was borrowed as a country, not as individuals. And so the people who are supposed to be having this conversation about who is supposed to be held responsible is us as Kenyans more. We should be able to say, first of all, Jagero, you are president, you borrowed this, where did you take it? It is our conversation. It is not the conversation of the lender. And if it was simple, I've told you, Jagero, anything that looks very simplistic and it can be done, it sounds so easy, anyone would have done it. Anyone who is coming into office, you can be able to...
Can I ask you a question?
No, before you even ask him.
No, I'm very willing to answer the question.
Before you ask.
Let me ask him a question.
You can talk throughout.
Let me ask him a question. I am assuming that America has its laws.
Yeah.
Kenya has its laws. Then there are international laws.
Yeah.
Repeatedly, Trump has gone against international laws. And he's actually tossed it out and said, I don't care about international laws. I care about America first. So he's gone ahead and attacked several countries and done crazy things, including kidnapping a president from another country. Yeah. And nothing has happened. Yeah. A lot of people have said that, look, America can do what they want, Kenya cannot do what they want. Yeah. Okay? And I imagine that even in the financial sector, whether it is IMF, they sort of agree that countries have their own laws.
Yeah.
Okay? And so if, for example, Uhuru Kenyatta took loans in Eurobond, gave you some. Those days you were working for Uru.
And bought a Mercedes.
And you bought a Mercedes that Odhiambo is very envious of. Right? But then the laws, those internationals come to realize that, look, actually, we never sent Kenya any money. So they go into the nitty-gritties of this loan, and they realize that actually this money ended up in Qatar. And dubiously, nothing really went to Kenya. So why are they asking Kenya? They come back to Kenyan parliament, because Kenyan law says that you can only borrow money for development. And then, number three, the Kenya's lawmaking body, which is parliament, has to approve that law.
Yeah.
So they come and realize that, number one, Kenya government, the Kenyan parliament, they're sovereign, because the representation of the Kenyan people are parliamentarians. Yeah. So if something is taken in the name of parliamentarians, essentially Kenyans have taken it.
Yeah.
We agree.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
But now we realize that actually the Kenyans themselves did not take it.
Yeah.
And then we realize, okay, the Kenyans did not take it, but also the money that was taken in their name did not reach them. So then what happens?
So this is what happens, Jagero, and you put it very right.
Yeah.
First of all, you case in point the aspect of America not observing some international law.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to notice that when they want not to observe a law, first of all, they do a narrative driving and change the name of the person. For instance, they change you from being a president to now profiling you as a terrorist and therefore a danger to society.
Yes.
Once they have then profiled you differently, then now they can proceed with what they want to do. And then they will always argue that they did not capture anyone's president. They captured a person who was a danger to wherever. That is how they have always played around with these things. So it is actually possible that you cannot be able to really hold them to say they have actually not observed international law. But then we exist in a political environment. And I totally agree that most of the loans actually that the country has taken, people in Kenya have actually not been able to see. Remember, it's true that...
So we cannot call them sovereign debt.
It's true that our
Legally.
parliament is supposed to approve our loans. I totally agree with the Safina argument.
Okay.
What I do not agree with them is when they make it look like it is a very simple thing to do. By them saying that we will simply stop paying. Because the international law has a caveat whereby these people have been able to create a situation like this, Jagero, where they have said that under international law, every government will inherit every debt of its previous regime. Now that is able to be more a protection to the lender more than a protection to the borrower.
I disagree.
And then you have the right to disagree. See, that's why it's my opinion. You are not allowing me.
Shut up.
Yeah, no. Let me advance my argument. Then you can go to the honor. It is very unfair. It is extreme. No. Yeah, you can't be unfair like that. No. Yes. Yeah, no. Because I have the decency to keep quiet when all of you are speaking. Yeah. Just have the decency, including yourself.
He's the only UDA candidate here.
No, I'm not a UDA candidate. Yeah, I'm not a UDA candidate.
You will not.
No. You will not succeed in profiling me. That is what I'm telling you Americans do before they do an ill.
Okay.
Yeah, so just because I do not read from the narrative that of the praise and worship of Linda Mwananchi does not make me profilable.
Okay.
Exactly. So when you want a UDA person, please call a UDA person. I'm not a member of UDA. I'm not a member. I don't serve in government. Yeah. I'm not a member of even ODM. Actually, substantively, I'm still a member of the Jubilee Party. I'm just not an official. So let's not go the profiling way. Let us not go the profiling way. No.
You see, you essentially want to answer this guy. So he has to finish.
And he has no right to say I'm speaking nothing.
Okay.
Because first of all, Safina Party in itself is recognizable. You are the one giving them airtime here for Kenyans to know that they were having a meeting in Mombasa. So the SG cannot purport to be saying that people are speaking nothing. If anything, if anything, they should be able. Yeah. You can't come with that kind of analogy here.
No. Why don't you apologize to him?
Yes.
No, why should I apologize for him saying that he's a substantive member of Jubilee? Then what?
No, but you see.
No, but I think saying that somebody.
Yes.
Now that is a sweet nothing.
Yes.
I responded to.
No,
not the other one.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
No,
that is fair.
It is not fair.
The other ones I will respond
there is
to them.
nothing about what I'm saying that is nothing. You can only disagree with my opinion.
No, yes,
but you can't profile opinion.
Yes,
I don't profile anyone's opinion.
Okay.
So I do not give anyone the legroom
to
think that they can have a higher standard of opinion. You can be able to prescribe your Safina thing together.
You see, we are not going to sit here and be lectured by a person who contributed to these odious debt issues. His party leader is an author and choreographer of the odious debt.
Yes. And you see,
and he's sitting here
lecturing us
on a moral high ground, telling us how he's a substantive member of a party that put us into an abyss that we are trying
Can
to
I now
get
proceed?
out of.
Can I now proceed?
You will not proceed.
I will proceed because your party leader is part of the problem of this country.
No.
The odious debt that we are talking about, part of the people who ate from that money is Jimmy Wanjigi.
I would like
you
cannot
be able. These are the contractors. These are the contractors. Has he substantiated how I ate from it? So we will be able to have the opinion here. Because you see, Jagero, when we choose not to observe any ethics in this argument, we can go and discuss nothing.
But I told him to apologize.
And he hasn't.
Why should I apologize to an odious debt choreographer?
And how do I apologize to a person whose party leader is part of the problem of this country?
No,
you can't be.
My party leader has never been an MCA.
You can't
not
be.
A member of parliament.
Which is more of the problem.
Anything.
So you want to take internship at the presidency level and take internship with the lives of Kenyans.
No.
It cannot be like that,
Jagero. Be respectful.
No, but they must be respectful, Jagero. The person who dropped respect was them.
Jagero.
I am always very respectful, Jagero. I did not interject anytime they spoke. Because you see,
what is your appetite?
No, we are losing the debate.
And it's because no, we will not go there.
He doesn't want me to talk about it.
I will finish my argument and then you will respond. No, I will finish my argument. And if I do not finish my argument, nobody is going to speak. Because we can't. Yeah, we can't proceed.
I have kept silent
no.
For a few minutes.
We can't proceed on that tangent. No. You can't proceed on a tangent of disrespect. We are not going to give you any 1 minute. It's not going to be there. It is fine. It is fine. We can do that. Because, we can do that. Because it can't be.
How long are you finishing?
It can't be. No. That is still, the truth is, Jagero, it can't be that when Joachim wants to speak, all of us must shut up and listen to him.
Shut down
you can be able to start a Safina podcast.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
You see,
good. Now, I was essentially telling you,
Joachim, you guys are people who are, you are people who are honorable as a party, and you claim that others are not honorable.
No. Have I said others are not honorable?
So let him finish.
Okay,
Okay.
Because the argument has to have substance, and we must have decorum.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I am too disappointed with Mr. Adrian. He's clearly quiet.
No, Adrian is innocent. He's not a moderator.
You should poke his fellow guy and tell him to behave.
He's not his fellow.
When it comes to
he's not.
I'm also reserved.
Yeah,
okay?
because
we are also trying.
Okay, let's go on.
Yeah, because it will cascade down to arguments like people arguing why you should be a billionaire whose industry is not known. But what I'm trying to say is to stay objective on the subject of odious debt. And what I'm saying is that it is not untrue that we have debt that has not benefited this country. It is not also untrue. It is not also untrue that we have things that have been done that have been wrong. But what I'm saying is that presenting to Kenyans things that look very simplistic, it should be able to beg the question in Kenyans' minds to know that you should dig deeper. Because anyone would essentially have been able to do it. And what you're saying you disagree with me is what I'm telling you is international law. It's not my opinion. Is that international law has been able to more or less protect the lender more than it protects the one borrowing. And if it was not the case, Jagero, all countries in the world actually have a problem with their debt. All of them. If it was simple, all of them would have just be waking up and saying we are not paying. And that's why that concept of odious debt, if you check very well, it has no legal backing per se. It is as phenomenal, yes, but what is the element of legal backing behind it? It does not stand on any too solid ground. It is a very simple way, Jagero. In finishing.
Yes.
To win an election, you need an agenda that is very nice and catchy to the people. One of the catchiest agendas to tell the people is that we will not pay debt. You must ask yourself, how come nobody has ever used it? So it is not, whereas I don't disagree that they might achieve in what they want to do, but we must also face it in its reality. That is not one of the easiest things. And I've only seen it in, I think, the only thing I know of, I've talked about Cuba and Iran. Yeah. I don't know of any other country.
Can you allow me to ask Mundalo one question?
No. You see, people are just